Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I was face down in this book, The Secret Horsepower Race, today, and trying to digest a few pages. I actually considered doing an entire series of videos based on this book, but it would literally get so far into the nuts and bolts that I don't know if it would be manageable. But it did make me realize something. Looking at all the differences in these engines, which are often pretty major, I realize that when we buy a model, especially a model airplane, we're kind of looking at it as, oh, that looks cool. Let me get a Messerschmitt 109. So I'll grab one. Maybe I'll get the one with the pointy nose because it looks cooler, or the one with the long round nose because it looks sleeker, whatever. Or this one with the bulges on top of the cowling, which is for the big guns they put up there as an afterthought. But you don't really stop to think about what all these bumps and bulges really mean underneath the hood. I mean, it's really way more different than you would realize. The differences between the various marks of Spitfires, Mosquitoes, Messerschmitts, and everything else is far more than the simple aesthetic. They cram all this stuff into an airframe that already exists and make the changes as necessary, often just to fit large drum magazines or oversized superchargers or desert filters, something like that. And you don't really stop to think about how many differences there are between a Mark 1, a Mark 5 Spitfire, or a Mark 9, which is really, as I get into this book, even though they look alike, they're terribly different animals. And most of us, when we're building models, are really not that concerned about that. Oh, that looks cool. It's a Spitfire, or so on and so forth. And of course, the Spitfire is unquestionably one of the most elegant airplanes ever made. And the same thing goes for cars. I mean, I have a Mustang. I love Mustangs, Corvettes, Chargers, all of them. But I'm sure some of you guys remember the mid-70s when the Mustang, despite its sporty look, kind of really became an economy car. And I knew some guys that had them, even the ones that said Cobra on them, and they complained they were pretty gutless because they were, just really not a sports car. They just looked like one. So what's under the hood matters, which is funny because I think the Mustang 2s had a pretty nice looking body on them. But, it's very Mustang looking. It just wasn't the hot rod that we've all come to know and love. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about that this morning as I was reading the books, how we buy a lot of kits based on what they look like, not really giving a second thought to how different they are to different versions of the same basic vehicle. And the same thing could apply to other genres as well. I mean, let's face it, if you want to get into kaiju, the 1954 Godzilla and the new Shin Godzilla, I mean, all they got in common is the name and the spikes on the back, because there's a world of difference between the two. The new and improved city-destroying Godzilla. We no longer take you down one building at a time. We can wipe out a neighborhood at a time. So anyway, but also last night, after a Zoom session with a glue trooper, I had a couple of bourbons and decided, you know what? I'm going to go out to Tarbis and do some work. And I started cleaning up that F-80 and got a little work done on the Heracles and a few light coats of white on the Boeing helicopter. And I'm not sure, but I think it'd do better work after a couple of bourbons. Maybe I'm more patient and relaxed. So anyway, or maybe the fumes just don't hit you as hard. I do have a vent fan set up and everything, so I'm trying to be better about that. So God knows how many brain cells I've killed. Well, anyway, these are just my random thoughts for the morning. I thought I would share that with you guys. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves, guys. And as always, model on.